And if I'm not mistaken, I think it was almost like right after that you started to do Evolve, and I know that was I remember you did one. Your name was on one, I think, in December, but I remember you becoming more regular towards the spring of 2019. How did that come together?
So this is another long like I started
I'm
back
here
in
for it.
2015 and did like I did my first camp for them in 2015 in like October, and he basically told me like you're just a tall guy, you're in okay shape, you need to give me more. And in reality, he's right. They had Timothy Thatcher, Drew Gulak, Matt Riddle, just to name a couple guys, Hot Sauce Tracy Williams, a bunch of tall, in better shape white guys. Like, why did they need me at that point? So then I started like trickling different ideas. I tried like a millennium thing. I grew my hair out so I wouldn't look the same as everybody else. Did more fun wrestling style stuff instead of just being like a straight up wrestler. Um, that really wasn't doing much for me either. So then it was like end of 2017, I decided to switch up the character and be the retro AG that you see today with the mustache and all. And I sent him an email the day like that I posted on my social media stuff with the new username and all that stuff. And he said, "I like this. I am more likely." Oh, this is Gabe, by the way. I emailed Gabe.
Yeah.
He's like, "I'm more likely to book this character than what you were doing before. Keep it up. Once you have some footage, send it my way." I would email back and forth, send them stuff here and there. And finally, I think it was like November 2018, I sent him an email asking if there were any spots for the New York double shot in December. And he said there was nothing. And then I saw that there was a tryout that same weekend and someone was going to be chosen to work the show. So, I was like, what do I have to lose? And I went the first day to Queens and just helped set up, did all the ring crew stuff, whatever he needed. And the next day showed up bright and early to Long Island and did the tryout. I was the one chosen to do the four-way. It was myself, Bishop King, Colby Corita, it was his debut, and Kurt Stallion as well, which that was his debut weekend as well. Just did that four-way, and nothing really came of it. He told me I did fine. We emailed a little bit in January and February, and then it was March 16th. He sent me an email at 3 a.m., and I didn't see it till like 6 or 7 a.m. And he said, if you can get to this meeting point by 7, then I have a spot for you on the show. Mind you, I was booked to wrestle in like Rochester, New York that
Yeah.
night. So like I had to like decide quickly, all right, am I going to cancel on them? I decided to, made it there. I actually beat Gabe and his ride to the meeting point, drove there with them. And then that was the night that some say I grabbed the brass balloon at La Boom. And from there, I got to the back thinking that he was going to hate it, by the way, because Evolve has always been known for like their wrestling. And this was such an outside the box thing. I didn't know if he'd, take it as too hokey or too corny. But I got to the back and he was like, that's that WWE-ish we want to see, like
Yeah.
using your brain, doing something like that. Like, that was awesome, thinking outside the box. And I was just like, whoa, what's going on? He's like, good stuff, man, good stuff. You look great. You're doing everything right. You did the camps. You listened to my advice. You're doing it right, da-da-da-da-da. And then that happened on Saturday. So that Sunday night, he just texted me, I'm all in on Anthony Green, and I wasn't sure what that meant. That Monday, he asked me if I was available for a show, and then told me later that he didn't have the spot available. And then the next day, he asked me if I was good for that Friday WWE Super Show. Said it'll be a very good opportunity. I told him yes. And then maybe an hour later, he said, do you have interest in signing with Evolve Wrestling?
That's awesome.
And that was late March. I did the match early April, and then technically May 1st was my first day under the Evolve WWN brand.
And obviously they had more so of a connection with WWE now, which we'll get into, but they already did. And you, over the last year or so, have worked like Tyler Breeze, I know Mansoor, Babatunde, even Bugenhagen. And of course, their presence has been more pronounced on Evolve shows of late. But that had to make you feel good that WWE also felt comfortable with you in there with their guys, because they do keep an eye on who's wrestling who on these shows.
Yeah. So funny enough, my first weekend official with them was in May, and then my second weekend, that's when I wrestled Tyler Breeze. So that made me feel awesome. Like,
Yeah.
2 months in, I'm already working like WWE NXT guys. Like, this is unheard of. Most guys are usually there for at least 6 months to a year before they're getting in there with anybody like that. And I think it had a lot to do with my training and Gabe and them trusting me that I wasn't going to break Tyler Breeze's neck, and knew that my character work would match with his pretty well. So I think that was important. Mansoor knew I was wrestling Mansoor before I even knew I was wrestling him. So I don't know if he asked, or if, because him and I became pretty cool in January, I don't know if he asked to work me, or if Gabe gave him like a list of guys, or if Gabe just asked if he was cool with it, or whatever the case was. But I wrestled him like 3 days after he worked Ziggler in Saudi. So that was another thing. Like, all right, they're trusting you with this guy that they clearly have a lot invested in. He's doing these huge pay-per-views in Saudi Arabia, wrestling Cesaro and wrestling Ziggler. So clearly they trust me in there with them, which is, it's always a good feeling. And then I know for a fact that they threw me in the ring with a guy like Rick Boogs because he didn't have like the indie experience,
Sure.
and they knew someone like me and someone like Joe Gacy. Those are the guys he worked that weekend, that we would give him that wrestling experience that he's not going to get just training at the Performance Center, obviously.
So, as I had mentioned, Evolve officially bought by WWE. That's major. What do you think that means for your future, for you in wrestling? Because, I mean, obviously, Evolve hasn't been running shows because of what's going on, but what does that mean for you, or what do you think it might mean for you?
So, like I said before, the biggest thing coming out of this COVID is I decided I just wanted to get in the best possible shape I can, because I don't know what my next opportunity is going to be, whether it's just a big indie show, whether Evolve comes back under like a WWE brand, or whatever the case may be. I truly don't know. What I do think is cool, though, is I'm guessing there's rumors that WWE is going to add like an independent wrestling tier. You're going to see the ICWs, the Progress, the WXWs, and you're going to see Evolve on the WWE Network. So I was there for the good part of a year. So if anything, you're going to see a bunch of Anthony Green footage on there, which I think is pretty cool looking back, because as of right now, you get one thing of me, and it's from the Evolve special from July last year, which I was actually the first ever indie match to ever stream live on the WWE Network, which is a pretty rad accomplishment, and no one else has that under their belt except me. So,
and as we film this, it's like the dominoes have started to fall. Like, we hear that Leon Ruff has reportedly signed. I don't think that he's went on the record about that, so I don't want to speak for him or anything. But that is a guy from Evolve, and personally, what I had heard was that they have their eye on more people, and of course they do, because they're buying this company. While the library is very nice to have, obviously there's some value in the people there, because the people are what made that library.
Sure, yeah.
How does that make you feel, hearing that, or at least the word is that other people from Evolve are getting signed up?
I think that's great for the industry overall, because if it's me, if it's not me, that's just going to be another spot opening up. If they grab a guy like Fox, or if they end up grabbing a guy like Eddie Kingston, those are some guys that are really high up on the independent like tier in the food chain. So if they're gone, that gives me a spot. Or if this person's gone, everyone's just going to move up in the world. It's always been a revolving door in professional wrestling, where when one guy gets grabbed by the claw machine, like in Toy Story, when they go up and beyond, there's going to be another toy that gets thrown into the fold. For me, I don't know. It's just, I see Leon Ruff, and I think there's a lot of reasons why he was hired, whether it's hard work, location. He's nailed every single performance he's done there. He's made every single guy in there look good. Even if it's a matter of Evolve guys getting flown down to the Performance Center to do enhancement matches like him just to get a look, I think it's only good for us to get that kind of exposure now. So if nothing comes of it, and we're all just back on the independent wrestling scene, maybe another major company will be interested based on what they saw on me there, you know?
Yeah.